In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness there is no God but God, and God is the only one who has the right to be worshipped. I also bear witness that Prophet Moses, Prophet Jesus, and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon them, are the messengers of God, and I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. So greetings of peace, and thanks for tuning in. May the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. So in these videos, as you may know, we like to prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon them, also known as the Mashiachs. So we're going to take a look at Imam Mahdi, some of the attributes that we can deduce from the authentic hadiths that our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, mentioned in the authentic hadiths. Some of the things like protection, that we know that Imam Mahdi will be blessed with protection from Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. We know that an army will be sent against him from Syria, and that army will be swallowed up in between Mecca and Medina when Imam Mahdi is receiving, being sworn allegiance to in Mecca. Also, we know that the rain will be very abundant. The desert will turn to greenery. So Allah will bless Imam Mahdi with lots of lush greenery. Imam Mahdi will have some sort of connection with the earth, as we know from other hadiths that mention that the earth will Imam Mahdi will fill the earth with a radiant illumination, celestial illumination of his Lord. So the vibration will increase. The light of Allah will permeate more into this world. Also, Imam Mahdi will be very generous. We know from the authentic hadiths that Imam Mahdi will give out charity without counting it. People will come up to him and say, give me, and Imam Mahdi will fill up his garment with gold. Other people will have charity to give, but in that generation, that holy generation to come, the amazing Islamic state that will occur in the time of Imam Mahdi, there'll be so much charity, so much wealth amongst the people that people will not find anyone to give charity to. So you may have gold and silver to give, but no one will accept it because everyone is so well taken care of in that time. Also, in that authentic hadith, that it will be the greatest Islamic state on the face of the earth. So it'll be in a very amazing, beautiful, and harmonious time. Now, obviously, obviously Imam Mahdi will have enemies. Obviously, in the world, as Allah, the unique creator of all that exists, has enemies as well. And Imam Mahdi will obviously have to defend himself. So there will be some battles, but overall, it's going to be a very blessed time. There's going to be abundant wealth. There's going to be abundant greenery, vegetation. The earth will give out its treasures to Imam Mahdi. So there will be lots of blessings being a part of that civilization at that time. So we're going to look at the law of remembrance. It's going to be listed in the description box below for your benefit. So obviously, the remembrance of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists, is very important, and obviously Imam Mahdi will be very God conscious. So it's very important for us to always remember the unique creator of all that exists. So we're just going to go through some Quran verses here to help us with some beneficial knowledge to help us prepare for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon them, also known as the Mashiach. So we're going to go to chapter 7, verse 74. Remember therefore the favors of Allah, and do not commit mischief in the land. And recall his favors when he made you Thamud, the ruler after Ad, and assigned you an abode in the land after your suffering. You build castles in its plains and hewed houses out of the mountains. Remember therefore the favors of Allah, and do not commit mischief in the land, acting as creators of disorder. So we should always be thankful and grateful to Allah, the unique creator of all that exists, for all the blessings that Allah provides for us. He sustains us, He guides us, He provides for us. So, be thankful for our families, for our livelihoods, for the roof over our heads, the foods that we eat. All these things come from Allah. Everything comes from Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. And it's very important for us to remember Allah in gratitude. Chapter 7, verse 205, keep on remembering your Lord in your mind with humility. So keep on remembering your Lord in your mind with humility and awe, in a voice not loud, in the morning and the evenings, and do not be heedless. So Allah doesn't like loud boasters, people who are very loud and always trying to seek attention. But Allah prefers something in the middle, not too quiet, but something in even tone. So when we're thinking about Allah in our actions and stuff like that, to have some sort of humility in the remembrance of Allah. Chapter 18, verses 23 through 24, remember your Lord whenever you forget. And never say of anything, I'm going to do it tomorrow, unless you add to it, God willing. And remember your Lord whenever you forget and make a mistake, and say, I hope my Lord will guide me to a course even shorter than this, to the right path leading to success. So if we do make a mistake, we do make a sin, or if we forget Allah in the moment, Allah recommends us to have this prayer. Say, I hope my Lord will guide me to a course even shorter than this, to the right path leading to success. In this next verse, chapter 18, verse 28, do not follow him whose heart we have declared unmindful of our remembrance, and keep yourself attached to those who call their Lord morning and evening, constantly seeking his pleasure. Do not let your eyes turn away from them to pursue the glamour of the present life, and do not follow him whose heart we have declared unmindful of our remembrance, who follows his evil inclinations, and whose affairs exceeds all legitimate limits. So, very important for us not to pursue the glamours and glitters and trinkets of this world, not to get caught up in the dunya, into the worldly life, and neglect our spiritual and neglect the remembrance of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. And Allah mentions here not to follow those whose hearts are unmindful of remembrance of Allah. So, as we know from the hadiths of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, the authentic hadiths there is that I recall, that Imam Mahdi will stay far away from his enemies and will be very close with the allies of Allah. So he'll keep his friends close and his enemies far away. And obviously this is a commandment to stay away from people who are forgetful of Allah, who do not remember Allah, and then neglect their duties to Allah. He who turns away from the remembrance of Allah shall surely lead a straitened life. So straitened life is a difficult life. So in chapter 20, verses 124, but he who turns away from my remembrance, he shall surely lead a straitened life. And what is more, we shall raise him up blind on the day of resurrection. So the cure of depression, the cure for having a difficult life, is the remembrance of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. And we can do that through our prayers. We can do that, in our thoughts, and doing good deeds, others, being conscious of Allah, making dua to Allah. There's all sorts of ways that we can remember Allah and get close to Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. So woe to those whose hearts are hardened against the remembrance of Allah. In chapter 39, verse 22, it is he whose mind Allah has opened for the acceptance of Islam, so that he follows the light of his Lord, like the one who gropes in the darkness, of disbelief. Woe to those whose hearts are hardened against the remembrance of Allah. Such indeed are steeped in clear error. So those who they close their hearts to Allah, they don't expand their heart open wide and feel Allah within their heart, within their soul. Allah gives warning to those that close their hearts to Allah. They don't understand that we all come from Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. That is very important for us to be have our hearts open and pure and clean, not filling it with darkness from sins and stuff like that. That we're doing what Allah makes lawful and staying away from the unlawful things that Allah forbids. Being a good moral person, believing in the oneness of Allah, doing good deeds, etc. And so Allah gives warning to those who do not remember Allah and close their hearts off to Allah. So the recital of the Quran softens the hearts and the skins towards the remembrance of Allah. So in chapter 39, verse 23, Allah has revealed the best message, the fairest discourse. This wonderfully coherent book, the verses of which are mutually supplementing and repeating, narrating both sides of the case in various ways to drive home the divine injunctions to human minds. It makes the very skins of those who stand in awe of their Lord creep, and in their hearts tremble at its recital. Yet their hearts and skins soften towards remembrance of Allah. This is Allah's guidance. He guides him thereby who wishes to be guided, yet none can guide him whom Allah forsakes and adjudges to be astray. So Allah obviously guides, obviously those who are listening so far in this video want to be guided because they're drawn to the Quran. Allah guides His creation through the Quran, and by reading the Quran, by reciting the Quran, this softens our hearts, and this actually softens our skins physically. Our skins will become more soft, as well as our hearts in the remembrance of Allah. And a great way to remember Allah is to recite the Quran, preferably on a daily basis, even if it's just a few verses a day. Just doing a little bit of that can really soften your heart and put you on a trajectory of success. So not only our hearts will soften, but our skin will soften as well. So turn aside from him who turns away from our remembrance. So in chapter 53, verse 29, so turn aside from him who turns away from our remembrance and seeks nothing but the present life. So those ones who are chasing the world, who are chasing money hand over fist, chasing everything besides Allah, the unique creator of all that exists, Allah guides us to turn away from those who do not remember Allah on a consistent basis, and they seek nothing but the present life. So there are some people that are just very materialistic. They're very worldly driven, and it's not beneficial for more advanced souls to spend time with people like that, as they will bring you down, will take you away from the remembrance of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. And as Allah has mentioned in previous verses, that you'll have a more difficult life if you're taken away from the remembrance of Allah. Do not let your possessions and your children make you forget the remembrance of Allah. So in chapter 36, verse 9, O you who believe, do not let your possessions and your children make you forget the remembrance of Allah, and those who do so shall be the real losers. So this is not to say not to neglect our children or neglect our material needs. Obviously, we need to take care of our basic needs. We need a certain amount of food, clothing, warmth, shelter. Our children need a certain amount of attention, but we have to always remembrance of Allah is more important, and to take time, even if you have to take time away from your children or from your work or from other pursuits of this world, to take time to remember Allah through prayer, through recital of the Quran, through doing good deeds, charity, for the pleasure of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. And all these things will add up and make you more happy, will abolish depression with the remembrance of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. So very important things to understand, specifically beneficial knowledge for the coming of Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus, peace and blessings be upon them, also known as the Mashiachs. So obviously Imam Mahdi is going to be very God conscious. God, Allah, the unique creator of all that exists, will bestow him many powers. He'll have earth revealing its treasures to him, so he'll be Imam Mahdi, maybe one of the most wealthiest people on the earth, and will give out the most charity of anyone maybe of all time here on earth. Just deducing that from the hadiths of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon them. Allah will bless him with powers of the earth. The earth will fill with the light of Allah. The celestial illumination of Allah will fill the earth. So that will happen worldwide. And I believe that has occurred as well, as we see that the Shu in resonance, if you're familiar with that, is it consistently filling the earth with light of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. The frequency obviously can be measured as well, and that is also measuring, I believe, the vibration, the speed of light is increasing, you could say. So Imam Mahdi is going to have a lot of blessings from Allah. He's going to have blessings of wealth. He's going to have blessings from the earth. He's going to have blessings of protection, as the Khalifa of the Islamic State is a protection for all of the Ummah, of the community of believers in the world. So, the sooner that Islam will have a Khalifa, an authentic one, the better it will be for the Ummah. The Ummah will be more protected, will be more abundant, will have more blessings of Allah, the unique creator of all that exists. And until we have that, the earth and the Muslims themselves will, and the believers in general, will have a more difficult time on this earth until we establish God's laws on this earth and establish a Khalifa on this earth as well. So we know that Imam Mahdi is not going to seek the position. He'll refuse the position at first. It will have to be forced upon him in Mecca. And when that happens, an army will be sent against him from Syria. And that army will be swallowed up between Mecca and Medina. And that will tell the world who really is Imam Mahdi. And that will give other countries something to think about if they want to aggressively attack Imam Mahdi and his community. So that'll be another blessing of that occurrence. It will ward off evil as well, because a lot of armies might think of twice before attacking Imam Mahdi, as they might be destroyed in some calamity or some freak occurrence that they did not expect. So we know Imam Mahdi will be successful in all his military, according to the hadiths, all in his military campaigns. He'll be, according to the Quran, Islam is very defensive, not an aggressor. Allah does not love the aggressor. So Imam Mahdi will most likely be mostly defending Muslim land and not seeking to conquer other lands. There could be some injustices in the world that require the liberation of Muslims in other areas of the world that may occur. But in general, Islam is a defensive religion and a defensive way of life, as Allah prescribes in the Quran. I will have a video soon about that, about the laws of war, and we'll get into that sometime in this coming year. I'm not sure when I'm going to make that video, but I've got it prepared somewhat for that. So that'll be an interesting one. So stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about Imam Mahdi, as well as the second coming of Jesus. Peace and blessings be upon them. I've got some great videos planned ahead for the next for this year. So if you did enjoy the video, if you can give me a like and subscribe, inshallah, it'd be very much appreciated. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you take Allah as your shield, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be with you. Thank you so much. Peace.